Okay, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Like, I can't stress that enough how excited I am to be here and how grateful I am for the opportunity to be able to come on live each day for 29 days and to speak to you about all things love. So, if you are joining me live, would you leave a comment? If you are watching a replay, will you let me know? And most importantly, I want to invite you to interact, to engage. If you are joining me each day live, then come on and leave a comment, leave a question. If something comes up for you, if you want to share a story with us, that I want this group to be engaged, right? Like we all belong to so many groups nowadays, and it can be completely overwhelming and it's hard to really check in. And then we all have one or two groups that we absolutely love, where we go in there just to see what's going on. And they are created with an energy of support and celebration and camaraderie and community. And I would like to create that here inside of Finding Forever Love. Now, you may be watching this on my personal page. You may be watching this on Inside Uncaged Woman because today, for the first day, I wanted to give a little taste of what we're doing inside Finding Forever Love. And I wanted to make it accessible to more people because we're just getting warmed up, we're just getting started. So, if you're watching this from outside of Finding Forever Love, make sure that you join us inside that private group so that you can have access each day. And I'm trying to think of any other housekeeping. And then once you're inside of Finding Forever Love, please let us know. Introduce yourself. Tell us about you. If you want to share your love story, tell us your love story. What do I mean by that? When I say tell me your love story, I'm not just talking about romantic love. I'm talking about what is your love story? What is your relationship with love? What is your understanding of love? What ideas have you created about love since you were little? That's what I'm talking about. Tell me your whole love story because that story is the foundation for every romantic relationship that you will ever have or that you have ever had. And sometimes we need to rewrite our love story so that we have a stronger foundation for really living a life of love that we love. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about, first and foremost, we're going to talk about what love really, really is. Because in my opinion, we're doing it wrong. And I think that that's obvious by the statistics, the divorce rates, the infidelity, betrayal, sort of this sense of entitlement that we get into a relationship and someone owes us something. And and so there's several ways that I believe that we're doing love wrong, but there's also several misconceptions and misunderstandings that we have about love and what it really is. So let's start there. So love is the highest vibration in the universe. I also believe that love is energy. God is love. You can say God, you can say universe, source energy, creative, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to label it, it's love. And this energy becomes manifest as us. So you are love. And looking outside of ourselves for love is like a fish looking for water. We are love. And so it's learning to understand that and to be love is what changes everything. It changes the way that we think about things, the way that we stop the harsh judging. It changes everything. So when we were small, we were taught about love three ways. One, what did we witness? What did we see? Two, what were we told? What did we hear? And three, what did we actually experience? And based upon that, we created a love story. That this is what love is. Love is either safe, I feel nurtured, I protected, I feel accepted. Love is so much of acceptance. I feel like unconditional love. Like the people in my life really truly know who I am. They embrace me, they accept me, they love me. Sometimes we're not taught that. Sometimes we're taught that love is something that's outside of us and it's a reward. If we're good enough, then we'll be loved. But the minute that we cross over and we're not being good, it's withheld, it's taken away. And that teaches us very quickly that love is external and it is something that we have to get or earn. We have to be good enough for it. We have to be lovable enough to experience it. And this is a really slippery slope. This creates a very dangerous foundation for us because then we are actively out there searching for love rather than settling into what love really is, being love. And that energy in and of itself is magnetic and will attract love. Just like the law of attraction, like attracts like. So if we come from a broken place, if we come from a misunderstanding, if we come a place of uncertainty and we don't have any confidence, we don't have self-worth, self-value, self-love, we know that we are loved, we know that we are lovable, and acceptance of ourselves, then we are not going to attract that. We have to have that first in order to attract that, and we become magnetic for it when we align with that vibration of what love really is. So, what love is not? Love is not possessive, it's not ownership, it's not demanding, it's not judgmental, it's not harsh, critical, demeaning. And yet, so often when we show up in life, in love, in our relationships, that's how we treat the people that we love. We have expectations, very high expectations. And when they don't meet them, what do? What's the first thing we do? Flight or fight. We armor up. We wall off our hearts and we go, nope. We close off the love. We stop the flow. It's a punishment. And that's because that's what we were taught. True love is acceptance. True love is understanding. Now, that does not mean that you stay in a toxic, and we are going to have a whole few days talking about toxic love and how to actually get out of toxic relationships, break toxic cycles. Because just because you are loving and accepting of someone does not mean you're in alignment with someone or that it's a healthy relationship for you to be in. So, knowing the difference, that's self love. That's really important as well. So, we've talked about what love is not, our misunderstanding, and living a life aligned with love. What does that look like? It means you're setting an intention every single day to raise to the vibration of love, to see things through the eyes of love. I don't know if you've ever tried this, but I invite you to do so. So set the intention that you're going to get up in the morning and that you're going to see things through the eyes of love, that you're going to drop all expectations of the way that someone should be, about how people should treat you, what they owe you, right? We get caught up in this and we label it as like respect or I deserve this. I am worthy. But we kind of get on that high horse and we turn that into expectations and they kind of come across as demands. We talk about boundaries a lot. You can have healthy boundaries from a place of love and higher vibrational energy that's very compassionate, very kind, very loving, but very strong in your boundaries. Or you can have a boundary where you come across and it's a permission slip to just be a bitch and or to just be rude, to be direct, to be bold, to speak your mind. And that comes across in a very unloving way very often. When we choose to see things through the eyes of love, we show up completely differently. Judgment leaves, is gone. We are now in a state of acceptance and understanding and compassion. And this can be really tricky. This can be really difficult when someone is saying something or doing something that makes you feel hurt or angry or insecure. But when we can flip it and see through the eyes of love, suddenly we can like walk a mile in their shoes. Where are they coming from? First of all, ask yourself the question, is there any truth to it? Is there any truth to what they're saying? Could they be right? Many, many, many years ago, I was married and it was a very toxic relationship. And he said to me, you are the angriest person that I know. And I was shocked by that. And what was my reaction? It pissed me off. It took a long time for me to see this through eyes of love and ask the question, could he be right? I mean, if my reaction to him saying, you're the angriest person I know, was to get super pissed off, maybe he was right. And then I had to dig a little deeper to go, why? Why am I so angry? And that's for another day. We'll talk about that when we get into the toxic love section. But ultimately, I had to see that I was the common denominator. I had to see that the choices I was making, the way that I was showing up in love had consequences, and that I was not showing up from a place of self love, compassion, kindness, non judgment, acceptance. And when I started to do that, I actually released that relationship, but I didn't have to do it from a place of hate or anger or mean or retaliation. It was just simply we are no longer a match. In all honesty, when you're talking about love, we were never a match. We were a perfect match for all of my wounds, but we were not a perfect match for really what love is. And you may find yourself in that same situation where you have a history of relationships that have not been healthy, and you're looking to find the next relationship, the love of your life. But if you haven't really done the work to understand what love really is, you'll just keep repeating the same cycles again and again, because love is acceptance. And love is very high energy. And when you learn to align with it and you learn to understand it, your whole life will change. So, most of you know I'm a really spiritual person. I'm not religious, but I have to say that the most profound thing I've seen is about love, like a blueprint, a roadmap, is First Corinthians. And it's chapter 13, and it's the love chapter, and it's the one that we've all heard it at almost every wedding that we've ever been to. Love is patient, love is kind, and I love it. And I've made a beautiful PDF of this that you can print, and you know what? I keep it on my wall. I keep it on my wall as a reminder, as a blueprint, because when I read that, I hold it up like a mirror and I ask myself the question, is this how I'm showing up in love? Patient, kind. The kicker for me, the one that really called me on the carpet, was love keeps no record of wrongs. Can you imagine living in a world where people were so full of love, so aligned with love, that we stopped keeping a record of wrongs? It's a tall order, but it would change everything. When we forgive faster, when we learn to be accepting, when we learn to be kind, when we show up from that place and we use this as a blueprint on how to live our lives aligned with love, everything shifts. And you'll find yourself radiating, like vibrant. You start to fall in love with life, is what happens, because it's so much easier. It removes so much stress. It's like a huge weight is lifted off your shoulders when you can put down all of the angst, all of the things that we're taught. How dare he? How dare she? The anger, the hurt, the resentments, all of that gets put aside when we forgive faster, when we align with love. Doesn't mean we won't walk away. We might choose to. We might see very clearly that what we're living is not love, and that it's not in alignment with where we're going. And that's okay. Conscious uncoupling. I work with couples to consciously uncouple. I also work with couples to consciously create a loving relationship and to take their relationship to next level love. It's such a beautiful thing to witness when you take a couple that has been in strife and fighting and at each other's throats and full of contempt and resentments, and help them see love clearly and show each other that respect and use Corinthians as a blueprint on how they show up and interact with each other. The transformation is nothing short of a miracle. It's incredible to witness. And we can do this in a couple, and we can do this by ourselves. We can take this on because then what happens? We stop chasing love. We stop searching for love as something that's outside of us, something we have to be good enough for, something that we have to earn, and instead see that it's something that we are. We show up in a softer state. We're gentler, we're kinder, we're more patient. And that is what we start to attract into our lives. We become magnetic. And that, to me, is the foundation for finding forever love. The number one step is you've got to understand what it really is. And once you do, you start living from that place. Now, tomorrow, we're going to talk about thought. We're going to talk about choices. We're going to talk about how our thoughts create our experience. And this is a huge thing. If you haven't heard me speak about this before and you don't understand this, make sure you're here tomorrow, because our thoughts affect everything, our energy, our choices, our stories. They create our stories. And when we change, like Wayne Dyer said, change your thoughts, change your life. And he's absolutely right. And you have the power to do that. And you can do it just like that. And I'm going to teach you how tomorrow. So I am so grateful that you were here for day one. Again, if you are in my other Facebook groups and today was a little bonus for you, come over into Finding Forever Love. I'll accept you in, and we will go live each day at noon during the weekdays, 9 a.m. on the weekends, Pacific time. If that changes, I'll let you know the day before if it's going to be a different time the next day. And you can always come in and watch the replays. So I appreciate you being here. And I'm sending you guys so much love for Love Month. I'm excited, and let's take it on. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.